Okay. All right. Well, if that's the case, there's David. Okay. Well, if that's the case, let's call the meeting to order at 7:04 on March 2nd, 2021.
Hold on. I'm going to go turn John's video camera on. And David,
Okay.
David, you have to say your name and what city you're calling in from. So Judy David, Royal Oak.
Oh, because we have people on so all right, this is David London from Royal Oak, and we'll go around and take attendance here, get everybody to sound out. When everybody sounds up, oh, there's John popping in. So because we have people on the phone and this is being recorded, when you say your name, just say where you're joining from. So David London, Royal Oak. Eileen?
Eileen Carmen, Royal Oak.
All right. David? Oh, need your mic, Dave.
Mute.
Sorry about that. David Wandoff, Royal Oak.
Excellent. All right. Cynthia.
Cynthia Garrett, Cocoa Beach, Florida.
Excellent. Mr. Mike.
Mike Sherman, Royal Oak Beach.
Royal Oak. All right, Max, unmute and sound off.
Max Moylan, Royal Oak.
Okay, and Mr. Noah London, unmute and sound off.
Noah London from Royal Oak.
All right, and joining us from City Hall, John.
I'm going to have him move closer to the mic.
Okay, but yeah, I heard him enough there. So good to see you, John.
You're hard to hear, John, so I'm going to move you up. Hold on.
All right, and Sergeant Tycho.
This is Steve Tycho from Royal Oak.
Excellent.
I got to move.
Okay.
You are hard to hear, John. So can you?
she's gonna move him around. So okay, excellent. Well, let's roll call, and want to make sure everybody had a chance to. Did everybody get the agenda from Eileen? I know that I'm on a Mac, so I've always had an issue kind of getting some of the stuff that she sends over. That's why I send around. So if you ever get something from her and then get it again from me, it's probably because I've had a problem, and I wanted to make sure nobody else does. So I apologize if you get duplicates, but that's why. So if everybody had a chance to look at the agenda for tonight, Tuesday, March 2nd, 2021, that was, looks like there's 2 pages, and the agenda is on page 2.
Can anybody hear me? This is John Williams.
Yeah, we can hear you, John. I didn't see. I didn't see your.
When I first called in, it said that I was in as an attendee and I would be muted throughout the meeting.
Oh, well, we don't want that. We want to hear your voice, man.
Yes, I found him in the audience, so I have allowed him to talk, which moves him onto the panel.
Yep.
And he should be all set now. And
Excellent.
then you don't have anybody else in there, so I would say you have no public comment.
Okay, excellent. So yeah, Eileen, let's make sure we get John for a roll call on there as well. So, all right then. Yeah, we don't want to keep Willie waiting in the little, lobby here. So now that everybody's here, if everybody has the agenda that was sent around, can I get a motion to approve the agenda as is, or if there is any anybody spot any issues?
Motion to approve.
All
This
right.
is Cynthia.
Second.
Cynthia. Okay.
Who was our second?
Max.
All right, that's Max seconding on the approval of agenda. All right, we got to do the round robin again. So Judy.
Yes.
All right, Eileen. Cynthia.
Yes.
All right, David.
Yes.
John Wendland.
I don't know.
Did have you seen the agenda for tonight or no?
I didn't see it.
All right, we'll make sure that you get a print copy next time.
Give you a long yes or no because I haven't seen it.
All right, we'll make sure you get a print copy next time. Willie.
Approve.
All right, and Max.
Approve.
Okay. All right, then agenda is approved as submitted. And from the sound of it, from Carol, it doesn't seem like anybody is here for public comment. But if that's the case, we can move on. So yeah, next up we had at 6 o'clock, we had our sponsorship subcommittee meeting and discussed, there, Eileen, yes. Gotta unmute. Gotta unmute, Eileen, I can't hear you.
I think you do minutes first. You approve the minutes and then you go on to your sponsorship.
Ah, okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. Then, okay, so same thing. Did everybody get a chance to take a look at the minutes that were sent around? That was from the Tuesday, February 2nd, 2021.
This is Cynthia Garrett. I'm gonna approve the minutes as written.
I'll support that.
Or motion to approve.
I knew what you were doing. Who gave us the second?
Mike.
Cynthia was absent, so I don't think she can make a motion to approve the minutes when she was absent. Sorry.
Then I'll make the motion to approve the minutes as written.
Okay.
All right, that's a motion by Mike. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All right. So motion to approve the meeting minutes as from last meeting on the February 2nd. Judy,
Sorry?
so we're voting on it.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
That's okay. Cynthia. Yay or nay?
I was absent.
Yeah, she
I
was
was
absent.
absent, but I'll.
Oh, she can't, but she can't even vote on it?
I don't think she could because she wasn't there.
Okay. Mr. Mike Sherman.
Yes, approve.
All right, David.
Yes.
All right, Eileen.
Yes.
Max. Can't hear you.
Yes.
Okay, there we go. Willie
Approve.
and Mr. Wenland.
Approve.
Okay, meeting minutes are approved as submitted for February 2nd. And let me see here.
Okay, subcommittee. Now you can go forward.
Now we're going to go to the subcommittee. Okay, so in our subcommittee, we had talked about different different funding for a couple different things. Obviously, we have the Rosies, they are booked. We have the Tuskegee Airmen booked. We've already put I think 2,000 down on the float, which I had gone down and made schematics of. But we had talked about approaching a couple different things. Obviously, there's a new Comerica Bank on 4th and Washington. I had reached out to them, and they had been interested to at least see the deck. They are new to the community, so I was going to try to raise awareness of that. Unfortunately, the bank manager there doesn't know what a Rosie the Riveter or a Tuskegee Airman is, so that's a little bit harder sell. Which thought that was pretty universal, but yeah, I guess outside certain circles that that could be they slip through. But we also talked about the possibility of opening up a sort of a Facebook fundraiser, which is sort of like a GoFundMe, Kickstarter sort of thing. Since I've been telling people that we've had the Rosies booked, we've got the Tuskegee Airmen booked, several citizens, Royal Oak citizens, have said, that's great. How can we give you money? I'd like to help out with that. And people rarely come forward and just want to throw money at you. And unfortunately, we don't have a mechanism for that. So going alongside some of the other stuff, we had talked about setting up a Facebook fundraiser where we can send blasts out to everybody within the area to appeal to their sense of sort of civic pride. It's our 100th anniversary. It's our 100th parade. We have a chance to make this thing one of the best one. It's not going to be bigger than it's ever been, but it's certainly going to be better. We're like Judy keeps saying, we're focusing on quality, not quantity this year. So setting that up and then driving any funds that we raise to that Royal Oak Civic Foundation, which is a 501c3, we'll be able to use that for Tuskegee, for the float itself, for and decorations for that. We can talk about that under business later. But so yeah, we had discussed a couple different options. Also reaching out to the Royal Oak Women's Group for possible either donations or help. When I approached the Rosies last time, they said that the original Rosies were going to be there, the Rosie handlers, which are the younger women who clearly were not the original Rosies. But they had asked if Royal Oak had a women's group that would want to participate to dress up as Rosie and actually march sort of in a flying V pattern in front of the float. And so we're making some connections with that as well. But yeah, we're and of course we're still interested in reaching out to Baker College, but at this point, we had also talked about there were people or companies in the past that we have had march, like Lawn Doctor or some of the other ones, who I don't want to say people were taking up space in the past because that's a bad way of putting it, but that given the fact that we've got still some social distancing going on, one of the things that we had talked about is approaching some of the groups like Lawn Doctor or any of the other ones in the past and saying, in lieu of you actually putting a truck in the parade this year or putting 3 people out there with a company banner, maybe a donation would be in order. So we'll be sending out sort of save the date to past people as well with some verbiage in there about don't feel that you have to. It's you don't feel that just because you have done it in the past that you have to do it again. And if you don't, what a great opportunity to give a small donation. Now, all that said, we're still planning on having our float, which I went down and checked out. We're still, I had told the Tuskegee Airmen contact that the ones that we had voted on last time, that we want those 2 types of aircraft, the biplanes and the kind of screw up the tail numbers here. So, yeah, I don't have them in front of me. So, but anyway, yeah, the World War II plane and the biplanes, that we didn't want the gliders or the little odd looking 1920s one. And they said there was no problem with all of those flying in formation in terms of speed and everything. So we're still on track for that. But that was our, I'm sorry, what?
What is the cost for that?
I will pull up the one from last time, but it was the AT6G is $600. That's the one that looks like it kind of looks like a Mustang. It's the not a Mustang car, but it's the classic World War II fighter plane. And the PT-17 is the biplane. They have 2 of those. So the AT-6 is $600, and the biplanes, the PT-17 Stearmans, 2-ship formation is $800. So you're looking at so $1,400 for a 3-plane flyover. And he said multiple passes. They would do different different formations and in a line and stacked and all sorts of stuff. So he's all excited that that they can, because it's not that long of a run, they can go and do loops and come back. And he was very adamant that we would get our money's worth. But it's $600 for the AT-6G and $800 for 2 of the PT-17 Stearman. Those are the biplanes. Judy, if you want, that was in the chairman's report for February, but I can send you that again.
No.
It's got photos of them and as well as pricing per plane.
I saw it. I just don't have it in front of me right now, but yeah.
Okay, that's fine. So that was our sponsorship meeting that I wanted to kind of bring you up to speed on of that one. But in terms of the chair report, let me pull this one up here. So what I had done was I had gone down to the parade company the other day, inspected the float, and took a whole bunch of measurements. And if you got that document, what I did was take my little my actual sketch, my drawings and whatnot, and actually made a full-on schematic to show what what we've got to work with, as well as what the spaces are for creating some decorations beforehand and being able to kind of hook it on there. So did everybody get a chance to look at that the parade company float layout PDF that I'd sent around?
Yes.
Okay. And if anybody didn't get it, John, we can get you a print off of that one too if you want to take a look at that in the future.
Yeah, actually, Judy, can you email me John Wenland's information so that I can add him to my group of the Veterans Events Committee?
Mr. Winland doesn't have email.
Oh, okay. So we should deliver a copy somewhere. Can you email that to me?
Well, if John's gonna join us by at City Hall for these things, is that something we can print off in city when we send those things around?
I was gonna say, I believe I have the ability to share my screen if you want me to call those pictures up right now.
Oh, that would be great.
Oh, yeah, if we can do that, that'd be great. So yeah, I was gonna kind of walk through these things. It's the float itself is just over 20, it's 26 feet long from tip to tip. It's essentially a large square with a sort of a plank off the front where you can sort of stand over the bed of the truck. He said it's usually pulled by a standard, F-150 Ram truck, something like that. So there's a lot of square footage on here. This can fit quite a few people. Oh, there we go. So this can fit quite a few people, and it does have stairs. I measured. I don't know that we have any wheelchair-bound Rosies, but I will ask that because the stairs themselves are 30 inches across. So the good thing is the Rosies have their Rosie handlers, so they will be helping them up and down. So if we have to, help somebody up the stairs and then put them in a wheelchair or something, but they hadn't mentioned that beforehand. But you see the stairs kind of go down almost to ground level. So that's not a problem. The speakers, they can leave them on or they can take them off, but I don't know that we'll need those things. In terms of the siding, it's still decorated for Christmas. They will be taking off the stars. They're a little haphazardly placed. In the photos, I put these pink boxes on the side because in the one of the things we can do is there's these 41-inch high railings on either side, and they're sort of broken up into two sections, which makes me think we could create something that's that size, and essentially you just have hooks on the back of those things, whether that be thin plywood, whether that be plastic or something like that, that we decorate the outside of, and then on the day of hook it onto the side. Because it's going to be going very, very slow down there. The problem is we can't decorate it before the morning of because they have to get it here. And he said anything, anything that's not nailed down is going to fly off, even though they drive it here at about 20, 25 miles an hour. But I think that given the size and shape of these things, we can come up with some decoration that goes on the side of these things that is appropriate that we can do beforehand. And the railing is pretty sturdy. I mean, with a little, a couple Home Depot hooks on the back of that thing, it's not going anywhere. In terms of the let's see if you can see on there, unfortunately in the pictures, it is still kind of decorated for Christmas, but it's got this truss system halfway across that goes up and over and back down. So I think one of the things that we would do for this is, a red, white, and blue buntings, some sort of, if we can wrap this thing in ribbon or something. I'm not sure in terms of, like, I can do sketches of what I think would be good. like actual mock-ups. But again, at the end of the day, we have to decide on it. But I think what we can do is, I think we can vote on tonight to essentially vote that we will allot some time and resources to coming up with decorations for this without having final approved designs, knowing that we'll rotate those through. We've got time, obviously, but we should get to work on these things, come April. So I don't want to wait a full month to get you designs for it, but I think we don't have to start, producing actual decorations right yet. That said, if anybody has done decorations before, either for bunting on front porches or city halls or something like that, if there's anybody that has that type of patriotic red, white, and blue decoration lying around, we will happily use that. I've also had a couple people ask if they can essentially donate stuff for this. So in what I may put out is on Facebook, once we do our Facebook fundraiser, is put my information out there if you have things that you would like on here. I think that at a bare minimum, putting a flag on every one of the four corners, like a decent 6-foot size flag on the four corners, is that's a given. That can, any flag pole could easily be secured to those the rails without a problem. But we also don't want mixed match kind of stuff. So we would have to have consistent height flagpoles. So what I'd like to do is take this document that I'd sent around and come up with some mock-ups of what I think we could do and what would be economical, so that we're not breaking the bank on trying to come up with any sort of crazy idea. We don't need pyrotechnics or whatnot, but yeah, we're spending the money on it. I want it to look good, and I want it to be something worthy of the World War II vets that we're going to be putting on there.
David, I just have one question.
Yes.
So the Rosies, they're all in their 90s, right?
Yep.
So I assume they're going to be seated, not standing, right?
Yes, they'll be seated. Yes.
So are we going to be able to cover? I mean, it seems to me that if you put something where those pink squares are, when they're seated, we won't see them.
I thought about that. What we could do is, because the second half of it, if you scroll up to the first page for the actual schematic of it, the back half is actually about 3-4 inch height bump up. So there's this front section here that kind of sticks out that, we could put a couple different chairs. We can put Rosies and chairs out here, and obviously that's going to be front and center. They could also be flanked on either side up front. And I think the Rosies that will be here, I mean, I don't know the final count, but we can fit a lot of people in this front section before the truss. After the truss, on the raised section, that would be a good place for the Rosie handlers to be standing, because they'd have to get up there anyway. So the back half, and you'll see on below the schematic here, I did the two different sections. The front section can be open. It can just be either a PVC or a metal frame that we decorate with, like I said, either some bunting or flags or something like that, streamers, but see-through in the front, where the back half, the one that's raised up a little bit, might be the one that's translucent, whether that be like a plastic or a Luan backing or something like that, whether that's painted or whatever. I'm not above, I did something for the WROK 22 one where I built a little, the grenade shelter a couple years ago too. So I'm not above, buying and painting and creating something myself, but you're absolutely right that the front section of this really should be open for people to be seated and still be seen.
And how many Rosies do we think we're going to get?
They did not give me a count. She said they've lost one since last year, because last year was, I mean, obviously they're all getting up there in age. I think one of them has died, and but I will try to get a final count. She's been a little squishy on her reasoning for wanting to tell me, but I think it's partly because we are losing, so many of them year after year. So, but I'll try to get a final count, especially before we start doing decorations.
I guess, will they, I know that my mom, I wouldn't let be on a float unless I was with her. So do all the Rosies have an able-bodied person with them?
Yes.
Like a family member?
Yeah, so they call them the Rosie handlers, or the Rosie. So they provide Rosie. So for every one of the people that is going to be the original Rosies, they have a Rosie handler, who's also done up with the uniform.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I don't think we have to provide support for the Rosies, but obviously, it's a big float. So whether or not we want, if there's more World War II veterans who want to join, if there's, if Royal Oak has any Rosies, obviously we can. So we have the space.
I mean, since it has sound, I'm wondering if like we could get like a children's choir or something to be singing on it or something. I don't know. Fill up the space so it doesn't look like, wow, that's a big float with 3 people on it or whatever.
Yeah, we'll find something to fill it with. I don't know if we're going to put Romy on there, but so yeah, I think that and the other thing too is he had mentioned the speakers being on there. We had not talked about having some sort of music playing for this. But if it's included with the price, we can easily rig up an old iPod or something like that that's on loop. I don't. He said that he and I will continue talking about. They're going to try to make it as custom as possible. If you guys have the PDF open too, I did include a link to the video there that kind of gives you a little bit more of a walkthrough idea.
Yeah, I did that.
Okay,
I followed it.
Okay. Well, so that was they're very accommodating, but at the same time, they keep trying to get us for more money. But the float itself, I think, will be a great addition for this one. I think it's especially given the who's going to be on it. We couldn't ask for a better subject, but on the flip side too, I think that taking on the task of decorating something that we don't have until the morning of, that's the rough part. So anything we come up with for decoration, I'm hoping that we can either do quick decorations the morning of, zip tying things into place, and then hanging things off to the side, or just coming up with some sort of Spartan ideas. But I'm going to send around another document before our next meeting with recommendations. But again, anything that like if you have streamers, buntings, 6-foot flags, things like that too, like we're going to be basically collecting everything we can for this.
All right, this is Cynthia. I'm sorry I can't raise my hand.
It's okay.
But I'm thinking that maybe we contact Clausen Flag and Banner with the dimensions and see if we can, they can advertise. Maybe they'll donate the stuff if we have the dimensions, and they can resell that stuff. They can resell it. So Clausen Flag and Banner.
I hadn't thought about them.
And if they have the dimensions, they probably, I don't know. If I owned it, I would probably bring my staff up and decorate that. I'm just saying, maybe that's a place we could reach out to, and they may donate it for some advertising on the side, like decorations or buy your flags or whatever they want to do. But I think Clausen Flag and Banner has been a good supporter of the community for a number of years. So it's just a thought.
It's a good idea. As a matter of fact, I'm heading there this month too. We got new columns last year, and I had my old flag mount taken off, so I'm going to invest in a nice one to put my grandfather's flag up. So, all right. Well, that was apart from the getting verification that the Tuskegee Airmen National Historical Museum is good to go on those 3 planes, that they say there's no problems with the flyovers. Other than that, there was not much more for the chairman's report. I already mentioned that we'd reached out to the Comerica Bank folks, and that we are going ahead with certain sponsorship things. So once we do get the Facebook fundraiser online, I'll be sending that around, and people can send that to friends. That also, because Facebook owns Instagram, that works on Instagram as well. The reason I don't want to go with something like a GoFundMe is at least with the Facebook fundraisers, because we're a 501c3 with the Royal Oak Civic Foundation, there's no fees involved. It's not like we're getting charged anything for, essentially raising money and then getting the money out. And obviously I want to keep more of the money that we raise here. So that was it for the chair report. Let me get this here.
David, this is John Williams. I've got a quick question here. You talked to the Rosie the Riveters drill team?
The drill team? I have not talked to the drill team. I've talked to the original Rosies and their handlers. Okay. But where's their drill team?
Oh, they come out of the Ypsilanti Air Museum. There's like 20 to 25 of them. They're all dressed like Rosie the Riveters. They carry lunch buckets. They've got a thing. I thought I'd sent you a message to contact a lady named Allison Beatty.
Let me check that one. There you go.
I believe they were in the parade maybe 5-6 years ago, when we had the Rosie at the market.
Actually, it was a Veterans Day.
Right. Mike, you would know because they were there.
Yeah, it was Veterans Day. It was about 4 years ago.
Okay, 4 years ago. Yeah. I remember, and they were impressive, very impressive.
Yes, they are. They're standard in the Veterans Day parade.
Yep. William, I'll go back through. I'm sorry, I don't remember seeing that. But I will. I saw the one you'd sent over about Katie Melcher, but not about the Rosie. So I'll dig back through and see if I can find that again. But yeah, the Rosies themselves. The last time I spoke to the Rosies, they had asked if our local women's groups wanted to join in. Right. They said sometimes they like to reach out to local women's groups to dress up and then kind of march in front of the either a float or the whatever the Roses are rolling in. But and several people have said that would be of interest to them. But that's a big difference between, hey, I'm interested and yeah, I'll be there on time, and actually go through with it. Sort of like our giant flag. But apart from that, the Willie, I'll take a look at that one and go back through. I'm going to make a note for myself here.
I just Googled it and they have the drill team parade request right in the front page. So
okay,
seems pretty easy and straightforward to do.
There you go, David.
Excellent.
Yeah,
thank you. I appreciate that.
Watching movies. So
hey, if you don't mind, do me a favor, David, and send me that link.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Right then. Okay. So the in terms of I'll open it up to Steve. I don't know that anything from the police, but if there's anything new that you wanted to mention, we'd love to hear from you.
Judy, we thank you so much. We got the special event permit application today. I looked through it, and it seems to be straightforward. Just a few questions with regards to the actual ceremony, and also to confirm it, it's going to actually be on the east side of City Hall, correct? And we're gonna go and do the entire parking lot's my guess, right? Up to 100 people.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, Steve.
I don't see that there's going to be any issues, you guys. I actually have the permit already completed as of this afternoon, so we're full speed ahead with that.
Very cool.
Good,
And
good work. Good work.
And Judy, you had said that there are either flags or available or flag poles on that side, or no?
Flag poles on the east side of City Hall, and the porch makes sort of a natural platform, and there is like a handicap ramp if anybody needs to use a wheelchair. So where they placed, I mean, and as a plus, we can unlock City Hall, and if anybody needs to use the restroom, they can do that, because I know that's always a thing.
Yeah.
One thing that I forgot on the special event permit is so the marching band, they're usually, if it's like a warm day, they're usually dying in their wool uniforms, and they always used to take up that spot by the library where all the trees are. You know, that was like their spot. So I think I'm going to have to reach out to Dave Jensen and say he's going to have to bring some tents or something for them to stand under if he's worried about them being like overheated this year. That's the only thing it's the only thing I could think of that's like really bad about this location is there's zero shade. So if it's a hot day, it's going to be really hot on a parking lot.
Judy, I think we can also reach out to DPW with regard to the 10 by 10 tents. We can probably put something up there from the city as well. The police department has 2 10 by 10 tents that we could probably erect in the parking lot as well. Just, it's a good call for sun and for rain.
Yes, yes. So, and then there's something else I was thinking of for, maybe it'll come back to me. There's something else I was thinking I had to ask Steve. Oh, Steve, I know what I was supposed to ask you. Carol says that Chuck Buttons has a son that was maybe a former police officer. Do you have contact information for him? Because she said that he has access, he's donated bunting in the past for things.
So it's Eric Buttons. It's Eric Buttons. Yeah, he used to actually work in Royal Oak.
Yeah.
It's been quite a while, but I'm certain we can figure out.
Yeah.
Somebody has contact information on him for sure.
Yeah, if you get something like that, we can reach out because she said that Buttons Rental has in the past donated things. They're nothing against Clausen Flag and Banner, but the Buttons Rental was a Royal Oak fixture, and she thinks they may have some things. So
it's a very good idea.
All right, that's it for me.
I never heard of Buttons Rental.
Never heard of Buttons Rental? Oh, goodness.
Who said that?
Washington.
Me.
I haven't either. Sorry.
Who's me?
David. Yeah, I'd never heard of Buttons Rental.
David, they were
They're
on
right
Washington
across
for
the street from
years.
Brown's Creamery.
I think they moved they did move. They still have a
They're
location.
in Ferndale.
They're in Ferndale, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that's where my studio is. I should know where they are. So, all right. Well, thank you, Judy, and thank you, Steve. I'm happy knowing that at least that's in the works and on the books. So yeah, if we can look into the 2 10 by 10s for the police as sunshades, if Jensen doesn't need all of that, then at least having that set aside for and ready to go for Rosie's if they stick around for the I'm assuming that I extended the ceremony to them if they got done and they want to stay for the ceremony. So yeah, if it's a hot day, then maybe that's good that we have those and whatever we can get from DPW.
Dave, can I ask real quick?
Yeah.
With regards to the float, where's going to be the mustering area? I obviously understand it's going to be on Lincoln and Main Street for the beginning. At the end of the parade, where do we think that we want to have them exit? Like you just said, if they want the Rosies to stay, where would we think that the parade floats should be staged at the end? On 3rd Street, east of City Hall, would that be appropriate? Or
well, the question is that considered resident? Like once you get past Troy, is that considered residential? If we send people down 3rd, because again, I mean the thing is, it's not it's not skinny. It's it's 16 feet across. So, and I know that there's parking there. So the question is, if that's enough space to send them down Third, that's probably the easiest. But if that's not big enough, then maybe what they do is they once they go down Third and get to Troy, they hang a right and go back over to say the VFW parking lot or something like that. My only concern is cornering with that thing and the width of it. So if there's people already parked on the street on Third, I don't know how big 16 feet is in terms of like what's left.
Yeah, that's actually why I'm asking you, because we could potentially go and, bag the meters on Third Street from Troy east down to by the CVS there. And that it's not residential, but you might have a difficult time making that right turn back to 4th Street. So just something that we need to just, take a look at real quick. I think maybe we should dump them back, as you said. Because they're going to have a staging area at the end of it for them to get off. And then I don't know if the parade company is going to like whisk that float back to Detroit that quick, or if they're going to, hold off for an hour or so. So with regards to like at Christmas time last year, they had a lot of floats that came into town. And what had taken place is the Detroit Parade Company came up and they actually drove the route initially to make sure that there wasn't any issues with height and width. So I would suggest that maybe they come up really quick. We could go take a quick tour and take a look at the streets and come up with a plan.
Yeah, maybe everybody can, maybe we can close Troy between 11 Mile and Third, and everybody can just turn onto Troy and just stand there.
Yes. So Troy will be closed off at 11 Mile and at 4th Street. So there'll be no traffic between those two streets. Yeah. So that might not be a bad idea.
Mile and then go back to wherever they came from.
Well, and that could very well be true. They could probably maybe force them north to 11 Mile, and then they can make a right turn and go eastbound to 75 and head back down south.
That makes a lot of sense, actually. So we're saying that they would just they would come down, turn onto Troy, and then basically nose in, and then as everybody else goes, because that will give us time to. We're gonna have to get the stuff off as well. I mean, if they give us a couple hours to de-decorating is gonna be faster, but it's still gonna take some time. So I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, you know what? Let's just let's think about just between 3rd and 11 Mile. That'd be the staging area for the end of the parade, and whoever needs to, like you said, take off a ton of the decorations or whatever. We can have those 2 blocks, just keep them blocked off, and they can do their thing. And then they can, like you said, exit eastbound on 11 Mile to Campbell and head back down south.
Got it. So yeah, I will talk to them about possibly doing a drive-through from the initial staging up to up Main Street, turn right and take it down to Troy and then turn left again, and to see if they can spot. I mean, they do this for a living, so they're going to be able to spot things way better than we can. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I will reach out to. And
it's not super tall, right? The parade, the float's not super tall.
No, it's not.
There's not height.
It's there's that one. There's the I had it written down here. There is that truss, but it's not. I mean, it can't be taller than like a panel van or something like that. It's
yeah, perfect. We'll be good with the float.
Yeah, but I'll get the firm. I thought I had it written down, but I'll check on that one. In terms of height, but yeah, from the looks of it, and especially from the photos, it looks like no higher than a normal box truck. It's just the width is. I mean, it's a fat thing. I mean, it's pretty wide, but in terms of height, I don't think it's a problem. Somebody even on Facebook was like, "Oh, it's gonna hit the lights," and people are freaked out about those new lights. I don't know why. But yeah, in terms of the, I'll reach out to Paul to talk about a drive-through, and I think that's a good idea. And shut, yeah, if Troy's shut down anyway, I think that's perfect because you're right. They can just kind of take a right and head back to 75.
Fantastic. I'll take care of that aspect of it. What's Paul's last name?
Let me
From the parade company?
Yeah.
Yeah, I dealt with him last year. I'll reach out to him, make certain that everything's good, and I will actually go ahead and coordinate that with him. Him and I will run the route and make sure that everything works well, that there's no issues with regards to the traffic lights, the signals, or the lights.
Okay. Let me open up one thing here. And I don't have it here, so I'll dig it up. I can't. I'm gapping on his last name right now, but I know I've got it in here. So.
I think it's better for Dave to be like one person be in contact with the person at the parade company anyways.
He's chatty too. He'll talk your ear off. I went in, tried to measure and then get out. And I think I was there for 50, 60 minutes.
Yeah,
they like to show off the place.
Hence the reason why I said I would take care of that.
Yeah. He's I mean, he's a nice guy and all, but so yeah, the write that down here. So I took all the information down about that one as well. Okay, then if that's the case, then we can move on to unfinished business then. Obviously we talked a little bit about the sponsorship. What I will do is once the fundraising page is set up for individuals who want to donate, it's one of those things I hadn't really thought too much about until people started asking me if there was a way they can contribute once they heard that the Rosies and the Tuskegee Airmen flyovers were coming. So once that's in place, I will circulate that one. And as well, Judy and Cynthia and I will keep drilling down on Comerica, possibly the Baker College, and some of the others. Like when we talked about kind of reaching out to the companies that don't quite make sense for a parade, but might want to donate anyway. So we will be following up on that one before our next meeting as well. So we'll let you know how that one goes. And in terms of the ceremony, we really haven't talked too much about the ceremony. Yes.
Do we want to bring up the bobblehead? See if there's anybody else in the.
Yeah. So at the parade company, Paul had mentioned that they do have a Rosie the Riveter, the giant heads. If you guys can see the screen here, Carol's actually got a photo of it for her background for the Memorial Day parade. If you look up in for me, it's my upper left, but do you see a still of that, the Rosie head with the little red and white polka dots up there? So the parade company actually has one of those giant head things that they said they'd be happy to loan us for $500. Which at first I kind of, said, oh yeah, great. That'd be a nice addition, but probably not. But Judy pointed out that, some of these groups have been sitting on, dues without having any outlay. So maybe a women's club or maybe another club would be interested in actually essentially renting that along with it. They didn't recommend, they didn't say that it has to be a marcher from the parade company. So maybe that's one of the things we do. Maybe if they raise money for that, maybe the highest bidder or something like that actually gets to march with that on, which sounds cool, but I'm sure that whoever does that they're gonna sweat. They're very hot.
And the gentleman's name is Paul Jersey, Jerzy.
Yep.
I don't know if Steve heard that, but Jerzy, Paul Jersey.
Jersey. There we go. I knew it was something sounded familiar, but I'm bad with last names. So yeah, the Rosie head is available. $500 seems like a lot to me, but hey, if there's a group out there that would be willing to do that, and it's not something that we have to go out of our way to make happen, rock on. It's just there waiting. And he did say that they are, you'll be sweating by the time you're done. I mean, you've got a little hole to look through that's about this big. So it just, it's, and they're not terribly heavy, but they are very awkward. So, but yeah, we can talk to the women's, the Royal Oak Women's Club and see if that's something they'd be interested in. Or maybe they raise their own money for that one, but we will put it out there for them. I kind of just jokingly said, yeah, that's, fine. I don't think that we could use that, but if somebody is interested, hey, it's there. And it would be nice to, if that was going alongside of it. But so in terms of, but in terms of the ceremony, has anybody had any ideas, epiphanies? I know we've had a couple things trickle in terms of both speaker and yes, Judy, I saw your hand go up.
Say, Ryan McVicker from First New City Presbyterian is available if you need him for the invocation.
What was the congregation?
New City Presbyterian. It's the group that has their service out of Royal Oak Middle School.
Oh, okay. Oh, I've seen those signs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He's really nice. He's young and nice and cool, and I'm sure he'd do a great job.
How do you spell his name?
McVicar. His first name is Ryan.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want me to reach out to him, unless somebody else has somebody else in mind.
I think that's great. That's something in the city of Royal Oak.
Yeah. And then speaker, I don't know. Does anybody have any ideas?
Yes, this is John Williams. I've had David London be in contact with Kate Melcher of the Fisher House, former Apache helicopter pilot, United States Army.
Yep. I dug up her information. I did not get a hold of her yet, but I'm as an Apache guy myself, I'm a little biased. The pilots and crew on those things are some of the best people I've ever met. But I wanted to open it up for other folks too, if they had any other ideas. But yeah, that's Melcher is a solid lead.
That sounds awesome.
You have her information, right?
Yeah, from Fisher House.
Oh, okay. Because I was just looking through emails. I'm trying to find the one about the Rosie the Rivers, and I just looked at the one about Kate Melcher said she'd love to be there and speak.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Yep.
Great job, Willie.
Hello.
Yeah. Willie gets stuff done.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello, Willie.
Okay.
Yep. So let's see. Yeah, I've got the I did get the one. She said that she's in. She said, I'm in, please let me know the details and everything like that too. I think she would be a good fit, especially that she's not just somebody who served that, because she's working with Fisher House. I think that's does everybody know what the Fisher House is? That they do they call it a home away from home for military veterans and families. They can stay at no cost.
Yep.
So it's a great organization.
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm. So I think that would be a good one. If what I can do is I'll reach out to her in terms of in both timing and sort of message. We've always kind of had a I don't want to say a theme in the past, but man, I think everybody's just so happy to be out and actually having a parade this year. That the idea of having a specific theme or highlighting any specific group. I think basically going back to the roots of Memorial Day and doing old school classic is kind of the theme that I was leaning toward. I don't think we need anything special this year. Ooh. I think we're losing Judy with her fingers here. There we go. Oh, okay.
I'm
If
trying
you were
to Ryan McVicker right now.
Thought you were trying to hide something. So Yeah, so I will I'll reach out to Melcher and kind of fill her in, see if she's still interested. But I think that that's a solid lead.
Solid lead. That sounds like it's the for sure thing.
No, it's a for sure thing. I don't want to close off anybody else if they had somebody in mind. I think she'd be fantastic, and she's already said she's in. I just don't want people to feel like we're shutting anybody down.
Oh, okay.
No, but I think the more that we can get set in stone,
yep,
with everything else being up in the air, I think a way to go.
Got it. So
I agree.
Yeah, this is John Williams. Just for information, I'll re-forward the message that I sent out on February 4th, and it included the Royal Oak Veterans Events Committee.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I've got her at kate@fisherhousemichigan.org. So
right.
Yep, excellent. Copy this here. So I'm taking notes real quick. Okay. Steve, do you think that the police would be up for doing the flag folding ceremony again?
Absolutely.
Excellent. Love it. And
Did we lose that flag? I hope we didn't lose that folding flag.
Our foldable.
That flag is in my office right now.
Okay.
Confidently, we have that one.
All right, good.
And from the Legion, I'm assuming that we're still good on our 21 gun salute, as well as basically our standard contingent of folks from the Legion there. I sort of take them for granted that they're always going to be there, but I should ask.
Oh, yeah, we're going to be there.
All right then.
Rifle volleys, taps if needed, unless Mr. Jensen's not doing it. And I will make sure that we have a bugle with us this year, one way or the other.
Excellent. And I do owe him a call in terms of sort of the size of the band that he wants to have. Obviously, now that people are kind of, especially by that time, they're practicing again. They're getting together. I don't know. There's no marching band at the moment. Because there's no football games. That said, I do believe they are doing actual live, student band participation. It's been a bad year for groups, obviously, but Jensen always comes up with something. And let's see. So then the other thing too, now that the ceremony is going to be at the city hall, we've got our flags that can go, we can do up and down. We have plenty of surface area for seating, but because it's on cement this year, does anybody foresee any issues, any difference? Like think about what our normal ceremonies are like, and they're usually on grass, and we've usually got the memorial right there. But is anything jump out at you that we would need to plan for, given the fact that it's going to be in a parking lot as opposed to on grass? I don't think the only thing I can think of is if we've got those 10 by 10 tents, maybe sandbags. I mean, if there's nothing to kind of anchor it down, or something to grip it like a lawn would, and a big gust of wind comes along, the only thing I'm thinking of is maybe what we do is we request DPW have some sort of sandbags that we can sort of anchor the feet on those things.
David, they're going to have to be, just so you know, if they're going to put the tents up, they have to be anchored.
Okay,
so we'll take care of that. Maybe 5 different tents up there, just in different areas for people to congregate underneath in case there's inclement weather of whatever. And you know what, just maybe, I'm thinking bottled water for some reason. I think we maybe should think about having some kind of hydration there for all that are involved. I think that's the basics. And, I'm not going to say some kind of, cookies or some kind of, but maybe some kind of power bars, or just in case somebody's, if it's warm enough that somebody needs a quick snack or something, we could have a little area where we could be giving something out as well, in tribute to the veterans, the memorial itself.
In the past for Veterans Day, we've used McDonald's where they've donated like the hot cocoa things. Have we ever used them for Judy? Do you know if we've ever used that same McDonald's for?
Yeah, that McDonald's, they have that franchise has the 3 McDonald's in Royal Oak and the are the 3? 2 McDonald's maybe, and then he
It's
also
2.
owns the one on John R. in Madison Heights. So he'll do whatever, and he's provided orange juice before and water for other events.
Okay, so I'm gonna get the McDonald's. I know you've given it to me in the past, and I promptly lost it. So I'll get the McDonald's information from you if you know the person's name.
Yeah, you definitely need like a gorilla though to pick it up. Carolyn,
Yeah, did you get a hot cocoa van last time?
I got hot cocoa all over my van.
The hot cocoa didn't take the turn real well.
We've done it before for races, and they're like impossible to lift.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we don't have Tim's little golf cart.
I was going to say, I'm just texting the Historical Society to see if the pancake breakfast is happening this year. I'm not sure if it is or not. If it's not, I'm going to see if maybe they'll provide refreshments.
Okay. Is there I didn't handle any of the, oh, sorry, go on, Cynthia.
I'm sorry. It's really difficult because I can't raise my hand on the phone.
That's fine, you just jump in.
Have we talked about the wreaths?
No, we haven't. I assume that we were going back to our
wreath?
standard wreath approach.
Well, that's fine because we've been doing that virtually, but if that is the case, we don't want to make a misstep and not let the service organizations know that they're not going to be, because they do. I mean, all of them. So we need to reach out and at least notify them what the decision is and how we're doing it, because that is part of their, that's part of every year they look forward to it or don't. So I just think now's a good time to let them know what our decision is, because it's going to be on cement.
That's a good point. Judy, maybe one of the things I should do is actually swing by City Hall, take a look at the area we're talking about, because normally we have an obvious place to put the wreaths, but given the fact that we don't have like a memorial to be putting these things in front of, maybe we have the stanchions with the flag that we put these things by. So maybe sometime early next week, I'll swing by City Hall and you and I can kind of walk the grounds to find where would be a good appropriate place for the wreaths.
Well, there is like a long ramp going up to the porch that's going to act as the stage. From the north to the south, the ramp goes up, and you could put the porch is plenty big. It's probably as big as the memorial, so there's plenty of room on there to put wreaths, and people could line up on the ramp. The ramp,
so they can come up the ramp, drop them behind the presenters and whatnot.
And then you know what? There's stairs on the other side, so they can come up the ramp, line up there, social distance if that's necessary at the end of May, place the wreaths, and then continue walking down the other side and leave the other side. So it will.
Well, all right. So Mike has always been the master of ceremony, and he's always guided everybody who comes up and kind of points to where they should be. And I know in the past that we've lost a couple of groups who don't participate anymore. I don't know who they are exactly. I'd have to look at the list, and I don't have it in front of me. But I think it's worth reaching out to them and see if they're interested. And that's something that Mike has always orchestrated in the past as MC. So I don't think it's an issue, but I think we should reach out to the groups, because I don't think all of them have been laying their wreaths. I think there's a couple that have left.
Well,
the disabled veterans left. They haven't been back in a couple of years, but other than that, everybody's pretty well there.
Well,
Yeah.
there were 3 daughters, weren't there? There was 3 daughter groups, and I think it went down to 2, but
No,
and
there's two.
there's always
I
been
don't
2.
think the
Okay.
Knights. I don't think the Knights are doing it anymore because their uniforms are out of date. I don't think they're doing it anymore, but I'm not sure. That's why I'm saying we need to check sooner than later, and so we know.
Yes, Eileen.
Yeah, I would say, Cynthia, I'm going to look at the list of our parade participants. I know you're getting emails while you're in Florida. I'll email you the list, and then you tell me if you think of somebody else, and I will reach out to all of them.
Okay, perfect. I think Mike might know too, but from
Yeah,
what I
copy me
understand.
on that email too, and I'll make sure it's.
I
also-
will. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, perfect. Thank you.
Mhm.
No, that's thank you, Cynthia. That's I was kind of going along thinking, oh, we'll just do it as always, but I hadn't really thought about how we're gonna do that. Get people in. Where do we drop them? Where do we move them off? But the outreach to them, I had planned on kind of doing that in early, in sort of a save the date in March, and then make sure that we have everything locked down by April of who's going to be there, and we've had issues in the past where somebody, there was missing a wreath or something. So I want to make sure that we don't go down that road again. Yes,
Yeah, well,
Eileen.
we also decided that we would not salute each organization. We wait till the end, which
Yes.
made it flow a lot better.
I think it did. I think you handled that very well then.
My thought was that we've all been out of the loop so long that anything anybody can remember from when it was, let's
Yep.
try to bring it back as much as we can. So I think the laying in the wreath is important, and I think that we will make it happen, and everybody can be included because it's been kind of crazy, right?
Yes.
Kind of.
So in terms of the ceremony, one of the things that we should probably do then is before our next meeting is I can take the last ceremonies, the flyer handout that we made, go through everything to make sure that everything that we have done in the past is at least there and being addressed, and then seeing if we want to put any different verbiage on there, given that it's going to be in a different place, or addressing any of the 100th anniversary thing. Yes, Eileen.
Yeah, I just want to say I was unmuted, so I couldn't say
Sorry.
that every other, volunteer work that I do for the organizations, it's come up at every single meeting. And I'd let everybody know that we're going forward with the event. And each of those organizations have said we don't have to make a decision right now. So we're going to wait till closer to the time. But I think we should do what we normally do. We would normally reach out to these organizations in March. We would normally put out the applications. I think we should go forward with everything that we would do.
Yes. So what we had planned, and Judy and I had talked about this earlier, which is kind of reaching out to the folks in the past and saying, here's the deal. We are planning on doing this. We're planning on doing it live. If you've marched in the past, if you've actually done this in the past, apply. There's nothing stop. There's no problem with applying now and then seeing if something comes up in the future. We'd rather have somebody on the books and then have to shuffle things around later on than rush to catch up later on. So the let's see here. So yeah, that's on my to-do list is the I'm going to be sending Judy the kind of the wording for sort of an email blast, and I will get that to her tomorrow for the emails. Here.
And I think we're still on unfinished business, but I think we should go on to new business if there's any new business.
No, I think that's we've covered speaker, we've covered who's going to give an invocation, where we're going to be doing this thing. Who have we had in the past doing the raising and the lowering? Would Legion be doing that, or VFW, like who would be handling the raising and lowering of the flag?
The Legion does that. Ed
Okay.
Burkhart is responsible for that. I'll take care of that.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
So yeah, if that's the case, then we'll be following up. I mean, we'll follow up with on Steve's recommendation about bottled water and hydration stations. I think it's if McDonald's wants to jump in there, great, and if not, maybe one of the organizations we can talk to, either a veteran organization or a city group that would want to donate. But yeah, I'd say we can move on to new business.
I,
Well,
oh yeah, Cynthia's got new business.
Cynthia?
well, I just want to bring up the Field of Honor for fundraising.
The folks that
for
weren't on the
next
call
year.
earlier, do you want to walk them through that?
Field of Honor.
Yeah, because was that during our sponsorship one that you were talking about that, or?
Yeah, it was all right. I'm just going to go over it really briefly because I know everybody's it's 8:15. But in my travels, I had talked to some people that have a Field of Honor, and the Field of Honor is the goal is to sell 1,000 flags, and they're $40 each, and you can sponsor somebody who was in the service. And these 1,000 flags are in some designation. It could be in any park in Royal Oak, but it's like a $30,000 revenue, which we could save for the parade or events, veterans events, or donate it back to the veterans. So it's $40. I have all the information. Well, maybe we'll talk about it next year. You start selling in January, and the maximum number of flags is 1,000 flags. And it's a great idea. I have all the information. I'd like to bring it to this group in January of next year for a fundraiser idea.
I'd like to. So, Cynthia, what are your thoughts on? I know we keep saying January as a fundraiser. What if this is something that we kick off either right before or on Veterans Day at that ceremony? Because you kind of got the holiday season before then, and people are thinking about veterans, and on that time, is that something? Is it too long of a lead time if we?
So no, it's not too long of a lead time. I'm just saying that they started selling them in January. So the flags are purchased, and there's a tag on the flag. There's 1,000 flags. So if my dad is position 325, I can go see his flag wherever it is. They're only on display for Memorial Day weekend, Friday till Monday, and it is guarded 24 hours a day from Friday till Monday by Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts, other groups in the community. Is guarded for those days. And then it is either mailed to the family or you can pick it up after the service on Memorial Day.
Love the idea.
Yep. And
I'm sorry.
Cynthia, I can send around to everybody that link that you sent me for the healingfield.org for a little bit more information.
That's kind of my go-to, but I do have a brochure with me. I have one that is paper because not everybody is online. So it's like if you go online, it's $40. If you want it mailed to you, it's $45. But there is a tag on that flag that has your loved one. And it could be, you love however you want it for. But it's a great idea, $40. And it doesn't cost them $10,000 to mail those back. And the flags are much less than that. But it's a beautiful display for the community. 1,000 flags.
It looks beautiful. So I sent her on the one that the one that this is showing in the link that she'd sent me was from Punta Gorda. But yeah, when all those flags are up, and it's just it's gorgeous.
You can share your screen, David, if you have it.
What's that?
I think you're allowed to share, you have permission to share your screen if it's something we can see on the screen.
Okay. Let me see here.
I mean, it's just an idea, but I just really think that honestly, we spent, you know, and your dad's name and tag is on that flag. And we can even put the dates like Memorial Celebration 2022.
So
I mean, I just think it's a very cool idea.
While you guys are looking at that, Cynthia, who puts up 1,000 flags? Because I'm just picturing 1,000 flags, which I think is a great idea, but 1,000 flags, who puts them up?
Well, they're not huge. They're not huge. It takes up one small triangle of property in Punta Gorda, but it is amazingly gorgeous. I think the flags might be, I don't know, 14 by 17. I don't know the dimensions, but they're not huge. And they're wooden sticks, so they're environmentally friendly.
Who puts them up, though?
Well,
I'll do
that
it.
is the deal. Well, guess what?
Well,
Guess what? They have to be numbered, because if I'm 325, my dad's 325. I want to know where 325 is.
Well, so and I'm gonna have to look into this, because the picture, if you say dedicate a flag, on that page that's saying dedicate a flag, $40 and whatnot, there's a woman standing beside a standard 6-foot flag. So on one hand, Eileen's got a point, which is I don't know.
It's not. That I think that's for show. They're not 6 feet.
Okay,
I tell you, they're not.
Okay, well, we can look into it.
Well, yeah, we'll look at it, because I love the idea, and it's the sort of thing that if it's the sort of thing that we set up and it's not generating a ton of extra work for the committee on that day, or like basically tacking on to our duties already. I love the idea, especially if other groups would be handling things like putting them up and taking them down, sort of thing. But if this group handles that, then I don't know much about it, so yeah, I'll look into it.
it's real. I'm going to share my screen really quickly.
Sure.
Can you guys see my screen now?
Yep.
I mean, I Googled for pictures of healing fields, and they're gigantic. So I don't know. I see the little tag that you get. But wow, that looks like a deal for $40. But
I would have to.
These things are not the size of a person.
The flags are,
no.
the poles themselves are bigger, yes. But I think that, Judy, this is a question for you. When's the new park going to be completed?
So the new park, if the new park in theory is supposed to be completed this fall, but a full disclosure here, we haven't had any project really finish on time, but it is supposed to finish this fall. But I would think it almost definitely would be available next May, a year from May. So, I mean, this would be like spectacular.
Spectacular.
A spectacular backdrop to the new memorial that afterwards.
Spectacular.
Yes. People could walk over and look at the flag. That would be like amazing, because there's like a little hill in the park, so you could even get not an eagle's eye view, but I don't know.
Well, you know what? If the pictures are bigger, we have to look at our space and purchase the flags accordingly. That's what I'm saying. But I think the visual is amazing.
Yeah,
I have to agree. Yes,
we're looking at pictures online, and they do really look great. But I see they have like little markers to help you.
There's one you had that was smaller, Judy. The flags were small.
Where was this one?
All right, so the Rotary Club in Punta Gorda made $30,000 on that. And
Oh, it's
the
right there.
gentleman who ran
Yeah.
that, the gentleman who ran that has done it for 10 years in Massachusetts, and they've made a minimum of $30,000 every year. They sell out every year. It's like a prestige thing. It's like, I got my flag from 21. I got my flag from 22. Yeah. So it's something that maybe this could move forward
And Thea,
beyond me.
yes, I think it's
I
a
love it.
great idea.
I do too.
I do too. I just think everybody needs to think of 1,000 flags. Just putting that out
Yeah.
again.
It's going to be
All right.
impressive.
All right.
Yeah, I love
If
the
we make
idea. Logistics is going to be the
$30,000
hard part.
If we make $30,000, we can pay somebody $5,000 to set them up.
That's true. You can do that.
Right. I'll be retired
That's
next year and I'll do it.
Okay.
This website says that the flagstaffs are 7.5 feet tall.
And it
I
does
think it's,
We can
straight
scale
year.
it to our. I'm already retired, so I'll help.
deal, Cynthia, you and I, done.
Judy, that says that they've done it for the 19th straight year.
Wow.
Damn.
So
Perfect.
I guess
Great
it's
idea.
investigating and seeing how much space you need for 1,000 flags.
Mhm.
Because downtown's not going to happen. It's not going to happen in the
Let's
park.
not be a negative Nancy on this.
Right. I
Well,
agree.
and so if the
I'm
downtown,
thinking
I mean, as
space
much as
for
I love
that.
the downtown, but there's another option, which is the veteran section of the cemetery back there by the flagpoles. It kind of opens up into a broad area behind that. And as far as I know, there's not it's not stacked deep in that veteran section. I mean, worst case scenario, that area of the cemetery would also be another one. I mean, it's out of the way, but if it might be more meaningful to people that way, but it would be nice to actually be able to walk through there. But
I was thinking Normandy Parks, Normandy over here by me.
Well, we have time to think about it. This is just new business. I was just bringing it up
Nope.
as a suggestion,
Love
as
it.
a major money.
It is a good one.
That's how,
It is a
all
good
right.
one. Yeah.
Who puts that up and takes
Look at all over. Look at them. They're all over.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm looking at healingfield.org.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, I have the brochure that is super easy to fill out, and I brought it with me, so I will bring it whenever I see you lovely people in person.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
All right.
Fantastic.
Any other new business?
I think that John Wenland has a little tiny report on the 100th. This is John. Tell us the history of the parade. Can you tell us the history of the parade? I know you brought a folder.
Well, what do I hear about?
Oh, you're having a hard time hearing?
I can't hardly hear you.
Oh, okay. All right.
I think what we can do, I mean, John's always got so much research and background on these things. I think one of the things that we do is, Judy, if you can get a copy of that from him, I'd like to include as much of the information in the pitch to the people that have participated before, as well as including that 100th anniversary information when we're asking for money too.
Yes.
This is such a unique year. I mean, one, it's the 100th anniversary of the 100th parade and our 100th anniversary, and we haven't been outside in a year. It's a confluence of so many different things that make this one parade so meaningful. So yeah, I'd love to be able to get a copy of the stuff that he had brought.
Here's just pages and pages of newspaper articles that go back to
Nice.
1913. So I'm going to Xerox these and send them out to everybody in a PDF. This is research that John did.
Excellent. I'd love to include that in sort of our pitch to people to participate as well as to donate. To that, this is not just the your average parade. That this is the big one. that we want to, if you're going to participate in anything, this is the one you want to be in.
Great. Sounds good.
Excellent. Is there any other new business besides the both John's 100th anniversary report and the Fields of Honor?
This is John Williams. I'd just like to say that if Judy Davids, pardon me, is meeting with John Wendland at the City Hall, I'd be more than happy to meet them for the next meeting and be with them at a meeting.
Well, that would be fantastic. We would love
What do you think about that, John?
to.
That sounds good.
All right. I love that. Yes, you're always, anybody else that's calling in on a phone is also welcome to come here.
Are there rules? Is it at the state level or city level, whatnot, in terms of congregating and using conference rooms and whatnot? Even if, I mean, is it social distancing? Like,
So
what is that?
So I can have 4 people in my conference room and we can all social distance.
Okay.
But we would have to I'd have to ask, you might have to wear masks. Right now, John and I'm just outside of the room where John is at, so that John didn't have to wear a mask the whole time. But John's vaccinated and he's had COVID, so he's probably pretty safe. But yeah, I could 4 people can easily fit in that room and not violate any kind of health measures.
Excellent.
Yeah, I think they're good. Anybody that's been vaccinated is good. It's just that you can carry it for those of us that are going to be the last ones to be vaccinated. So.
Yep.
All right. Well, John, I'll give you instructions to come. We'd love to see you.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
I have a motion to adjourn.
All right. Can I get a second on Eileen's motion to adjourn?
Heard a second.
Cynthia will second.
Okay, so we got a Cynthia second. All right, let's go around the room. Judy.
Yes.
All right. We got Mike.
Whoops.
Like,
Yes.
Mike. Oh,
Yes,
there we go.
yes.
All right. And David.
Yes.
John.
Yes.
Both Johns. I'll just refer to you as Willie from now on. Max.
Works for me.
Yes.
All right, let's see if Noah's still around. Hey, Noah.
Yep.
Not that it matters, but I wanted to check and see if you're still there. All right, and we've got Eileen and Cynthia on there already. So excellent. Well, if that's the case, all in favor, and that would be adjourning at 8:31.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right. Well, I appreciate everybody's time. I miss you all, and we'll talk again soon.
Have a good
Good
night,
night.
everyone.